Hi friends, morning. This is Ben back again, and for a change, I'm at Kickstart Garage. The folks who run the show are people who are head mechanics and service engineers, supervisors from Royal Enfield factory that is in Chennai. These guys used to work with the factory, and now they have moved on and they have started their own affair. They're doing pretty well for themselves. This is at OMR, very near Sholing-Nallur, Chennai. So for all the folks in Chennai who wish to get their bikes properly checked and diagnosed and fixed, this is one place that I would highly recommend. You guys can definitely come here, get this done from that fellow, Mr. Basil. And yes, of course, they will see to it that, you know, you go back home with a smile on your face. What I have today with me is the new edition of the 5100. This is, I don't really know what modifications that they've done to the concoction. But again, this is an ester-based semi-synthetic. Don't really know about the proportions of the synthetic to the mineral base. But this is a decent enough oil. So we'll start with the draining of the engine oil. It's nice to see the bike on a ramp. That is Basil, by the way. Basil, just a hi.
Yeah, hi.
Poile. So 3,800 kilometers of really, whoa, almost on the verge of giving up. And 3,800 kilometers of nice hard revving and your oil goes for a toss. So keep in mind, guys, what Royal Enfield claims as 10,000 kilometers of service intervals is something which suits the riders who do it really slow, who are very composed and who only do maybe at the most 2 or 4 kilometers of city commuting. But for folks out there who wish to use the Himalayan for what it is, kindly go ahead and change your oil at intervals of 3 to 5k kilometers, at the most 5k kilometers. Do not stretch it beyond that. 3,000, 3,500 is a good range for fellows who do it or do a lot of hard riding. But then, of course, you can push it till 5. That is, if you're stranded at some place and you don't have access to oil, you can push it till 5. That is the wire mesh, nothing on the wire mesh as usual. That is what is good about this engine, unlike what many people think. The internals of the engine don't come crashing down, crumbling down on you. They're pretty neat. They work really well. I think this is going to be the thumbnail for the video. To be able to see the motorcycle on a ramp. It's just an amazing affair. So that's that. The advantage of having the motorcycle on the ramp is you can do both the changes on, that is the oil changes on both the sides. You can get the oil filter cap removed as and when you are accessing the drain plug. So ഒരു കാര്യം എൻ്റെ പേടി വേറെ കാര്യം ഈ എഞ്ചിനില് പേടിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. Is a new gasket going in place. Why do you see me continue to clean that and put that back on is because the spares, the availability of the spares is a really bad issue. We are moving ahead with a new one, and of course, like fellows in the West commented, either the O-ring or the gasket. But knowing Royal Enfield engines, O-rings and gaskets work better than just an O-ring or just a gasket. Again, we live in pretty hot regions, unlike you fellows in the West, where your average temperature may not go beyond 25 degrees Celsius. So you're pretty much running a nice, lovely, cold engine with cold, fantastically oxygenated air. But our engines here, especially where I come from in Chennai, the average temperatures are 35 degrees and more. So the problem with running such hot temperature and hot engines is that they tend to leak. So more the gasket, the better it's going to be. And that is why you see a combination of the O-ring and the gasket. So the difference between an old one and a new one is about that. You have another one, almost half a millimeter to compress. So here I am with Mr. Basil from Royal Enfield. Basil was the service engineer in Royal Enfield. He was the head of
Around
three. There were three that he was monitoring, and he was heading one wing of the Royal Enfield service department. And about how many years of experience do you have with them?
Around 3.5 years.
3.5 years later, he decided to start on his own, and here we are in Kickstart Garage. This is a really nice place for all the Royal Enfield fellows out there, all the fellows who watch my channel. This would be a lovely place that I would recommend for you to come and get your jobs done. So if you guys decide to ever drop in, do get in touch with Mr. Basil. He will be more than interested to listen to your problems, and will pay a lot of attention to all the niggles that you usually have or you develop over the years of owning Royal Enfields. That is very important, that those niggles are addressed. Unlike the major problems, the little tiny minor problems develop into major problems after a point of time. So kindly pay attention to all those niggles that you develop and get it fixed as and when. There's a dedicated wash area. You have two bays, two ramps that where jobs can be handled parallelly, and you also have all the spares. These guys have all the spares that are required for these sort of jobs. So do not be worried as to will they have a shortage of spares or will they be able to procure the spares. Basil is very well connected. He will definitely be able to get the job done in almost the same time as Royal Enfield promises. So yeah, he's been a close friend for some 3 years now. I've known him for 3 years. He built my motorcycle ground up. I had met with a major accident. One half of the motorcycle, including the frame, the chassis, the forks, the suspension, the wheels, everything had taken a big hit. Basil had fixed the whole bike. He put everything back together, and then I took it from there. I have been keeping a good eye on all the jobs that have been done and maintaining it to a decent level. So that's the whole of it. I will get back to you guys once the motorcycle is done. We are winding up with oil change. Yep, so the oil window seems full. We'll have to start the motorcycle and let it run for some time and then check again. But then, so yeah, that is a mandatory process. Do not conclude with just filling up the oil and the oil level showing on the window. Kindly let the motorcycle idle for at least 30, 40, 50 seconds, whatever it is that you are comfortable with. Let it warm up and then let it rest for about a minute before the level in the oil window comes up again. That will give you a clear understanding, a better picture of how much more or how much oil is already there in your crankcase. Motorcycles lined up. There's a Java, a classic, not a classic, I think that's a Royal Enfield Bullet 500. Then you have a KTM RC 390. You have 3 Himalayans, and then few more Bullets and other motorcycles. He is not exactly specific, he's not very keen on only doing Royal Enfields. He does pretty much all the motorcycles. And yep, that's that. So yep, that, yes, has definitely lost its viscosity. Absolutely nothing. And that is going to be replaced now. Now that you let it rest, the oil level comes up. Another 50-100 ml and that ought to do the job. So what you see him do now is he is introducing new oil into the cylinder and pumping it via the system out of the caliper assembly. Once you have a clean fluid come out of the system, you know that you're good to go. You can stop. and then the rest of the work would be to take away the air bubbles, which is a pretty easy job if you know how to. That is, I've made a dedicated video on that as well for you to see how to get rid of all the air bubbles. That's a really, really bad mixture. Hey. These pads are from Royal Enfield. These are my 4th or 5th set. I don't remember as much. The good thing about these pads are these are organic based and these get worn out very, very quickly. They offer a decent bite. I love the rear bite, the rear brake bite on the Himalayan. It has a very strong bite, unlike the front. The front is very spongy, for which I required a much more stronger braking system. That is, I swapped to the EBC sintered, double H sintered pads, is because I wanted something which had much more stopping power. But the rear is really cranky. It has a mind of its own. Works really well. So these pads do it for you. 200 or 300 rupees, I believe. Etra adine vela basil?
230.
230, yeah. So I paid about, I remember, 200 and something. And I keep changing them as and when. I think I'll change them now. This has enough material left, but that's all right. I'll change it now. New pads going in. Pretty easy job as long as you know what you're doing. Shove it in from the sides and then, yeah, run the retaining pin. That's about it. It's a super easy job with the rear brake pads or the rear braking system. Pulling it out and shoving it in. Split pins finally to lock things in place. That's a done and dusted deal. I still have enough rotor on the rear left, but the front needs changing, which we will do it in some time. So now what you see Basil do is he's pumping the rear brake lever. This will get rid of any of the air bubbles that you have inside the system. They'll come up on the canister. And then of course you can go ahead and bleed things as well. There you go, little fellas, if you guys can see. Tiny little fellas, not much. Almost done. There you go, there you go, there you go. So if you guys want really precise, sharp brakes, get rid of even the tiniest of the air bubbles. One way to see is to hold the pipe upwards. Idea being the air will always travel upwards. It will always go upwards. So it's pretty easy to spot if you have completely bled the system, completely removed air out of the system. Once you have that, you will have a very sharp bite. Absolutely no air in the system will lend to a very sharp bite. Little bubbles traveling up. എല്ലാ സാധനവും ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, എല്ലാത്തിനും ഉണ്ടല്ലോ ഡെഡിക്കേറ്റഡ് സ്പ്രേ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. So what you guys see me do here is I'm trying to make the aux lamp a kind of a detachable setup with the addition of these connectors. got the job done. Now that should keep things from developing issues. Yeah. Okay, so now checking the battery health with a multimeter. On one side you have the volts, the other side, one side you have DC current, the other side you have AC current. So get it to 20 because we are going to be somewhere near that range. Positive terminal, positive lead, and the cold voltage of a battery should be somewhere around 12.5. What I have with me is 12.41, that is slightly below 75% of the battery's capacity. Now let's just try the cranking voltage. A healthy battery should not go below 9 on the multimeter. Crank. That's 10 point something. So that is totally fine. I have a very good battery. So that's the job done and dusted. Winding up with the mini service. Getting ready for a ride this evening. Need to get the bike washed after today's ride. So that is the job done and dusted. From Kickstart Garage and with Basil, my close friend. So we'll see you guys on another one. This is Ben signing out for now. Ciao.